Good morning, children. So today we'll start with the next topic, crystal field theory. So we are studying coordination compounds. So under the coordination compounds, we have studied various topics. What are the topics that we have studied? First, we have studied about what are coordination compounds, what are the differences between the coordinated salt and the double salt, in a complex salt and the double salt. Next one is Werner's representation theory and various terminologies. Various terminologies means what are the central metal atom or ion, what are called as ligands, what are the different types of ligands, what are heterolytic, homolytic, amphidentate ligands, bidentate ligands, monodentate ligands. So various different types of unidentate or monodentate ligands. So different types of ligands, coordination number, coordination sphere. So various terminologies we have studied. Next to the terminologies, we studied about the nomenclature, which is very important. Naming of organic compounds and what are the rules that has to be followed for writing the name or giving the name for the coordination compounds. So that also we have studied. Next to the IUPAC nomenclature, we studied about the valence bond theory. Valence bond theory is very important theory which we have studied. Valence bond theory. Next to the valence bond theory, what we have is the crystal field theory. So crystal field theory is also very important. But usually valence bond theory will be asked in the examination. Crystal field theory has to be studied. Why? Because some few questions will be asked in the NEET examination. Okay. Whereas for the board examination is concerned, instead of crystal field theory, if you focus on valence bond theory, it will be more than enough. It will be maximum. So valence bond theory is very sure that question will be asked in the examination. Every year the question has been asked. Okay. And whereas in case of crystal field theory also, I will let you know what are all the questions can be expected. Not the entire theory will be asked. Only a split basis the questions will be asked from the crystal field theory. Now coming to the crystal field theory, before getting into the crystal field theory, we will look into the introductory part of valence bond theory. What is the valence bond theory? The valence bond theory explains about the formation of the coordinate covalent bond between the central metal atom and the ligands, isn't it? So what is that? Why valence bond theory has been formulated? What is the main postulate? The main postulate or formulation of the valence bond theory is in order to predict the formation of coordinate covalent bond between the electron donor ligand and the electron acceptor central metal atom or the ion. So that means, say for example, you take ligands. This is a ligand. The ligands will be donating the electron pair to the central metal atom of the ion. That's what we have been studying from this chapter. So the ligands will donate the electrons to the central metal atom of the ion. So when the ligands are donating the electrons to the central metal atom of the ion, there forms a bond. There exists a bond. Then only it can give rise to the formation of a complex. So there exists a bond. That bond is called as the coordinate covalent bond, which we are calling as coordinate covalent bond. So this is the main postulate of valence bond theory. This is the main postulate of what? Valence bond theory. So in the valence bond theory, the formation of the coordinate covalent bond has been explained between the central metal atom and the ligand. That is the main thing. Even after giving this explanation for the coordinate covalent bond, there are lots of shortcomings has been observed in the valence bond theory. Like, what are the shortcomings you will see? The shortcomings means the limitations of valence bond theory. What are the limitations? The first and the foremost limitations is he explains the valence bond theory explained about the ligands. What is the explanation about the ligands given by valence bond theory? The ligands can donate the electron pair. That is a lone pair of electrons. At least the ligand should have what? One lone pair of electrons. If you have lone pair of electrons, then lone pair of electrons will be getting donated. That is the concept that proposed in the valence bond theory, but that alone will not be enough. So what is needed? The nature of ligands is needed. The nature of ligands should be known. The nature of ligands. What is the nature of ligands? Whether it is a strong field ligand or otherwise a weak field ligand. Whether it is a strong field ligand or otherwise a weak field ligand. So the nature of ligands has not been explained in the valence bond theory. Then the second one is electronic spectrum, the splitting. See, usually the d orbitals, 5 d orbitals will be there. Those d orbitals are naturally having the degeneracy nature, splitting of the d orbitals is possible. The degeneracy is possible. Those things has not been explained in the valence bond theory again. So the valence bond theory failed to explain about the nature of the central metal atom or the ion in terms of electrons and in terms of orbitals also. So that is called as electronic spectrum. So electronic spectrum. Third one, the valence bond theory failed to explain why some of the complexes or some of the coordination compounds forms high complexes and the low complexes. Why the coordination compound should form high complex and the low complex? When valence bond theory we studied high complex, high spin compound, and this is a low spin compound. Clear? Inner orbital, outer orbital. So various terminologies we have studied, but lots of illustrations and explanations needed. Just based on the number of electrons, just based on the number of electrons in the orbitals, how overlapping this takes place. Based on that alone, we cannot predict what? We cannot predict the nature of the complex. Nature of the complex, whether it's a high spin or a low spin. So the valence bond theory failed to give the explanation. What explanation? Failed to give the explanation about. Failed to give the explanation about failure. Yeah, or no explanation. Failed to give explanation about the formation of low spin complex and high spin complex. High spin complex, low spin and high spin complex. Then the fourth one is the valence bond theory failed to explain about the effect of temperature and the magnetic behavior of coordinated complex or coordination compounds. Understood? So because of these shortcomings in the valence bond theory, the crystal field theory came into existence. To explain all these things, the crystal field theory have come. Next to the valence bond theory. Okay. So first, what you will be writing in the textbook, if you see the crystal field theory, 2.5 pages they have given. So many pages we cannot keep it in mind. I will be giving a gist of crystal field theory, what you have to keep it in mind, and how the questions will be asked, how you have to answer the examination. Okay, in a simplified way, however you can understand such a way I am going to give you, to listen carefully. Understand, and you have to take note of it also. So the crystal field theory, why crystal field theory came into existence? The crystal field theory came into existence because of the way the shortcomings have been observed in the valence bond theory. There is a valence bond theory explained about the coordinated covalent bond that is formed between the ligands and the central metal atom. Whereas the valence bond theory failed to explain about the first one, the nature of the ligand, whether it is a strong field ligand or otherwise a weak field ligand. The electronic spectrum. No explanation has been given for the formation, why the coordinated compounds are forming the high complex and low complex. Okay, the next one is the effect of temperature and the magnetic property have not been explained by the coordinated, it has not been explained by the valence bond theory. Understood? Now, next we will start with crystal field theory. So these things you will be writing. So this is the first point and this is the second point. Now coming to the third point. So the crystal field theory gives much importance to ligands as well as the central metal atom. Okay, the crystal field theory explains about the central metal atom as well as the ligands. So as per the crystal field theory, the ligands are called as point charges, since it has no pair of electrons. So ligands will be having point charges. Therefore, the ligands can also be called as ionic ligands. The ligands can also be called as what? Ionic ligands. Oh, so ionic ligands. Okay. Now, next step, ionic ligands. Now, this ionic ligands is of two types. We studied. Is it in the nomenclature? So ligands is of two types. One is the negative ligands. The other one we are calling as what? Neutral ligands. So here in the crystal field theory, the ligands same as has been classified. The point charge ligand, which is an ionic ligand, are broadly classified into two categories. One we are calling as a negative ligand called as what? Negative ligand. The other one is called as the neutral ligand. The other one is called as what? Neutral. Okay. So when you take this negative ligand, the negative ligand will have the dipole moment. So the negative ligand, the negatively charged ligand, the negative ligand will act as what? Dipole, because it has got a point charges. So it has a dipole. It has a tendency of donating the pair of electrons. Now coming to the neutral ligand, say for example, what are the negative ligands we have? We studied the negative ligands are OH minus, Cl minus, Cn minus, F minus, Br minus, I minus, isn't it? So these are called as the negative ligands. Now coming to the neutral ligands, say for example, aqua, amine, ethylene, diene, bidentate. So when you take these neutral ligands, at the negative parts, see, carefully listen. In case of water, the oxygen will have the lone pair of electrons. In case of amine, the nitrogen will be having the lone pair of electrons. Correct? So the lone pair of electrons, which is present in the negative part of the ligand, has a dipole moment, which gets attached, which gets attracted, or which gets attached towards the central metal atom or an ion. Say for example, if I am taking cobalt, so the cobalt will be getting coordinated with that of, say for example, NH3, 6 times coordination number. See, the nitrogen will be getting bonded towards the cobalt, not this hydrogen. Why? Because hydrogen is not going to give away the electron pair. Nitrogen is going to give the electron pair to the central metal atom or the ion. So nitrogen to the central metal atom or the ion. Here oxygen to the central metal atom or the ion. So here it is aqua, here it is amine, and it is ethylene diamine. Can you understand what I am telling? Now what is a neutral ligand? In case of the neutral ligand, the negative part of an atom which has a lone pair of electron presenting within the ligand will be having the dipole moment getting attached towards the or pointed towards the central metal atom or ion. So after when the atom is the ligand, two atoms are there. One of the atom will be having a lone pair of electrons which has a point charge. So therefore it has a dipole moment, and that dipole moment atom, the atom which possesses a dipole moment and lone pair of electrons will be getting pointed towards the central metal atom or the ion. So this is just an explanation given in the crystal field theory about the ligands. Here, this is the third point. So ligands, again keep it in mind, ligands has a point charge. Why is it has a point charge? Because it is going to donate the lone pair of electrons. At least it has what? Lone pair of electrons. So therefore it will be having the point charges. And these ligands, since it has a point charge, so we can call it as an ionic ligand. As per the crystal field theory, and it is universally accepted also. So ionic ligands. Now these ligands are broadly classified already, which we have studied in the nomenclature also. In balance mode theory also we have studied. It has a negative ligand and a neutral ligand. So negative ligands have given an example. In the negative ligand, directly this OH minus will be getting attached towards the central metal atom or ion. Cl minus will be getting attached towards the central metal atom or ion. That particular atom has a tendency of giving away the electrons to the central metal atom or ion. Cl minus directly will give away the electrons to the central metal atom or ion. Isn't it? So that means it possesses the point charge as a dipole moment, out of which these negatively charged ligands are pointed towards the central metal atom or ion. Whereas in case of neutral ligands, there may be two atoms or more than two atoms within the ligand. So even then, two or three more ligands are present within the ligand. One of the atoms has a tendency of having a lone pair of electrons which possess a negative charge and has a point charge and has what? And has a dipole moment. So because of which it is getting directed towards or pointed towards the central metal atom of the ligand. This is some of the characteristics of ligands which has been proposed in the crystal field theory. Is it clear? Now coming to the fourth point. So if you write like this will be enough, because it's a 5-mark question only. No, so much we cannot write in the examination, and even for the NEET also, such a way the questions will be asked. Now, fourth point. Now coming to the d orbitals of central matter, which is very important. D orbitals of central. Why? Because the d orbitals has a tendency of undergoing degeneracy. That's one way concept. Undergoing a tendency. The d orbitals having a tendency of undergoing degeneracy. What are those d orbitals? How many d orbitals are there? Totally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 d orbitals are present. So we got d xy, d y z, d zx, d x square minus y square, and d z square. Okay, so these are called as the d orbitals. So these d orbitals has a tendency of undergoing a degeneracy, undergoing splitting, undergoing degeneracy. So d orbitals has a tendency of undergoing degeneracy. Now this is the d orbitals. Now the next concept is, so first point you know. Now the second point I told you, third point, fourth point. Now we go to the shape and then we get into the detailed concepts of the crystal field theory. Then we can approach the central metal atom and what's happening. We will see that. So the shapes. When you take dx and dy, the shape will be like this. Similarly dy and d is at x. Whereas dx square and y square, this will be the shape. Just a drawing is not much important. For your understanding purpose, I tell you. Now you have to tell me the difference. You have to identify the difference. So this is x and this is y and this is y and this is z and this is x and this is z. This is also z axis, and now coming to here, this is x and this is y, and whereas this is z. So you are getting shapes. So dxy, dyz, dxz, and dx square, so x square, and this is y square, and this is z square. These are the shapes. And what did you understand in these shapes? What did you understand in these shapes? So say for example, first three orbitals you take, that is dxy, dyz, dzx. Three orbitals you take. What's happening in these three orbitals? You see, like this. It has been given, isn't it? The axis, or like this. This is x-axis and y-axis. This is common for all the three d orbitals. Now this axis or the lobes lies in between the axis here. The lobes lies in between the axis. Clear? So first three orbitals. So first three orbitals. This is the condition. Now you see dx square, y square, and dz square. What is the condition? What everything is changed to this? That is like this. So that means this is x and this is y. So x, y. So what is happening here? These lobes are lying along the plane of axis or along the direction of axis. That is the main difference. Here the lobes are lying along the axis. Along the axis. The lobes are lying along the axis. For where? In case of dx square minus y square and dz square. For these two orbitals, the lobes are lying along the axis. Okay. So this you have to know for the d orbitals, because it is undergoing degeneracy. One point we have studied. It be undergoing what? Degeneracy. Next what we are studying? Then we are studying about along the axis and in between the axis. I mean the lobes are present in between the axis and the lobes are present along the axis. Isn't it? So these are the two conditions, two natures of these d orbitals. Two natures of d orbitals. Is that clear? Now we go for octohedral complex. We go for what? Octohedral complexes. Octohedral complexes. Example. Octohedral complex. What is the example for octohedral complex? What is the representation we can give? M, L. Quotation number will be 6. Then what will be the shape? The center of the atom will be present. Isn't it? This is ligand, 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 ligand. So totally 6. Quotation number is 6. So 6 octohedral shape. Now the plane of axis. The plane of axis you see. This x and this is y. In case of octohedral complexes, that means what? Along the lobe. The ligands are present along the axis. Clear? Lie on the axis, on the same direction. Along the same direction. So if that is the case, so octohedral complexes will have the axis or the ligands will be lying on the axis. Ligands will be lying on the axis. Now, what will happen? You will see. What will happen for the d orbitals? What will happen for the central metal atom will be d orbitals? The degeneracy should take place. How the degeneracy will be taking place? We will see now. Now, the d orbital. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Isn't it? So d orbitals. So this is d x y. Then d y z. d z x. Then this is d x square minus y square, and this is d z square. This is the d orbital. The d orbital undergoing degeneracy. Okay, so find d orbitals. Now see. So now what's happening here? You see, here the degeneracy has taken place, splitting has taken place. Yeah, that is called as crystal field splitting. Crystal field splitting, which is represented by the symbol delta naught. What is this delta naught? Not available octohedral. Delta available crystal field splitting of the d orbitals in an octohedral complex. So I am writing here, which is a crystal field splitting. Crystal field splitting. Crystal field splitting. So what happens to the crystal field splitting? You see, this one I am representing it as Eg, and this one is T2G. What is that? Eg and T2G. What is that Eg called? W orbital. Eg is W degenerate orbitals. And T2G will be degenerate. Isn't it? So there is an energy range. crystal field splitting energy, or otherwise it is called as what? Splitting energy, or otherwise it is called as splitting energy, or otherwise it is called as splitting energy. With this, so it will be, so when it gets splits, it will be having a splitting energy. What is the range of energy? Here you see, here T to G will be having 0.4 delta naught, and here you will be having 0.6 delta naught range values. Okay, here it is 0.6 and here it is 0.4 delta naught. For the d orbitals, for the orthogonal complexes, the splitting will take place. The degeneracy will take place. Can you understand what I have written? The degeneracy is taking place like this. The first condition. Now, so I have given now EJ and T to G I have given, and what is this delta naught also I have given here. And this region is called as pericenter. It's called as what? Pericenter. Pericenter will be having what? It will be having average energy. It will be having what? Average energy. Yeah, average energy. So average energy center, which we are calling as pericenter. Now, the same thing when you go for the tetrahedral complexes. Again, we have to go for writing what? The tetrahedral complexes. What will happen for the tetrahedral complexes? You see, for tetrahedral complexes, M, L, 4. What is the structure? C, M. This is ligand. Now, the axis, how the axis will go like this, like this, like this. X, Y, Z. Axis will be moving like this. Axis. Now, what is the difference between this and this? The ligands are lying on the axis. Here, the ligands are present in between the axis. Can you see the ligands are present in between the axis? There also the degeneracy is possible. There also the degeneracy is getting possible. What is the degeneracy? Possible degeneracy will apply inversion. So what is that inversion? Same as like that we have to draw the d orbitals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The d orbitals will be writing. So d orbitals. Now what happens? The degeneracy will take place. Here it becomes 3 and here it becomes 2. So therefore, here it becomes EG and here it becomes T2G. Here it becomes EG and there it becomes T2G. So these are some of the changes happening, so that you have to keep it in mind. Okay. So that means, which means what you have to keep it in mind is, what you have to keep it in mind there, T2G, the other one is what? We have EG, isn't it? Now see, the energy range. The energy range is represented by del naught, which is having, EG will be having 0.6 and here it will be 0.4. Quite opposite to this. Here EG will be having 0.6 del naught here, and here it is 0.4 and here it is 0.4 and 0.6 the energy range. Inversion Indian octahedral tetrahedral complex represent பண்ணும்போது inversion center இருக்காது. So we have to represent E2 and E only. So due to the absence of inversion center, and this we are calling as a pericenter. So ரொம்ப in detail you no need to go. Just you have to keep it in mind. The splitting will take place in such a way 3:2, here 2:3, depending on the axis. Depending on the axis and depending on the ligands, and here also depending on the axis and the ligand, the splitting will be taking place, the energy range will be getting modified. Okay, that you have to keep it in mind. And the last one, based on this, then they found the spectrochemical series, and based on the spectrochemical series, they have given the cases. 2 cases are there. So spectrochemical series, you see, the spectrochemical series. Spectrochemical. So spectrochemical series, how it will be getting arranged? I minus F minus Cl minus Br minus Cl minus, then you go for writing neutral, no? NH3 En Cl minus. So like this it will be the spectrochemical series arrangement of the ligands. So from I minus to aqua, it is a weak ligand. It is what? Weak ligand. And from amines to cyano group, it is considered as the strong field ligand. Strong ligand. How they have discovered? Based on a condition. Say for example, I am drawing here 5 d orbitals are there. The 5 d orbitals are undergoing degeneracy. It undergoes degeneracy like this. Okay. So now here what happens? As usual 2 and here as usual 3 orbitals. So again here also 2 and here also it is 3. This is very important. This is last examination. So now I am mentioning another 5 electrons. Here I am mentioning 5 electrons. So the 5 electrons after d5 5 electrons are there. So this is undergoing degeneracy. After indirect orbitals has got split like this. Orbital complex, it has got split like this. Okay. If a split on there are two conditions possible. There are two conditions are possible for this. What are the conditions possible for that? We will see now. And then the conditions are possible. The conditions possible are the first condition. The first condition is either the electrons can shift or otherwise the electrons can pair. You know what is the meaning? Electrons, we give the electrons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with shift electrons can shift to first condition I go again, or otherwise the electrons can pair. This is called as pairing. In the shift electron higher level shift only pairing has taken place. So electrons can pair or otherwise electron can shift. So for electrons to shift, it needs an energy which is del naught energy. And for electrons to pair, the work has been done. So it also needs an energy which is called as P. That is capital P, which is called as pairing energy. Which is called as the pairing energy. And this delta naught is the magnitude of crystal field splitting or otherwise split energy. It is called as what? Magnitude of. It is called as magnitude of crystal field splitting. Magnitude of crystal field splitting. अपना यहाँ पर इसका मुझे याद है short what we can write. It is called as splitting energy. It is called as splitting energy. It is called as splitting energy. Now we go for case 1. We go for case 1. What is case 1 here? If del naught is less than P. If del naught is less than P, what will happen? If del naught is less than P, which is greater? The pairing energy is greater. Pairing energy is greater and shifting energy is low. So delta naught is less than P. So in such cases, the shifting of electrons takes place. The shifting of electrons. So electrons enters into Eg level, sorry, P to G level. So this we are called as structure. This is P to G and this is Eg, isn't it? This is P to G and this is Eg. So after shifting of electron takes place. From where the electrons are getting shifted? From P to G to Eg. What is the condition? Electron balance shift on order we can write it as P to G 3 electrons, Eg 1 electron. For example, I am giving this. If that is the case, if this is the case, it means what? electron is getting shifted. This is possible only in case of weak ligand. This is applicable only in the weak field ligands which has high spin complex. Which has high spin complex. Okay. Now let's go for the second condition. What is the second condition? When del naught is greater than P, then the electrons will undergo pairing. The electrons will be undergoing what? The electrons will be undergoing pairing. When it undergoes pairing, what will happen? The configuration, that is, electrons will be getting paired within P to Ga. Electron pairing takes place within P to G. The electron pairing will be taking place within P to G. So, electron pairing is going to take place within P to G. What will be the configuration? The configuration will become P, 2, G, 4, E, G becomes 0. See the difference. Clear? So, electron pair this becomes 4 and this becomes 0. There will not be any electron. So, EG becomes 0, E2G becomes 4. Suppose if the electron is getting shifted here, instead of pairing, if the electron has got shifted, then here 1, 2, 3 electrons are there. Upper T2G, 3 electrons, EG, there is 1 electron. So, this shows what is this one is. This is called as the weak field ligand. And here what is the case? This is a strong field ligand. This is a strong ligand and weak ligand. So, after T2G it is a T2G4 EG naught. Delta naught is greater, then we are calling it as strong ligand. We are calling it as the strong. If it is a strong ligand, then it will be having low spin complex. It will be having what? Low spin complex. Is that low spin complex? That's what this is the crystal field theory. So again we will revise what we have studied so far. The crystal field theory. So the crystal field theory is over now. Again we will recap. What all the points, we will accumulate all those points. Okay, in a sequential way. So then in the examination you can write in that order. Okay. First thing, what is the topic? Crystal field theory. Revise, you start telling along with me. If you have any doubts, you see the notes. Okay. So the topic is what? Crystal field theory. So under the crystal field theory, first and the foremost point, why this crystal field theory has been evolved? What is the reason why the crystal field theory has come into existence? That we have to keep in mind, isn't it? So the crystal field theory came into existence because of lots of shortcomings which has been observed in the valence bond theory. The valence bond theory explains about the formation of coordinate covalent bond exists between the ligands and the central metal atom of the ion. Only this has been explained in the crystal field theory, whereas it has been explained in the valence bond theory. Whereas in case of crystal field theory, it needs furthermore explanation how these electrons are getting shifted, how this electron is undergoing pairing, so how the ligands are getting attached towards the central metal atom of the ion, or what is the magnetic nature, what will happen under the effect of a temperature, what is the electronic spectrum, and what is the nature of the ligand, and how the complexes forms strong field high spin complex, low spin complex, how it is getting formed. So in the concepts unable to explain in the valence bond theory. Then points, what is the first point? Nature of ligands unable to explain. Second one, how some of the complexes are forming high spin and low spin nature. And third one, electronic spectrum. What is the fourth point? We failed to explain, the valence bond theory failed to explain about the effect of temperature on the complex and the magnetic property of the central metal atom of the ion. So all these points have not been explained in the valence bond theory. This paves the way for the entry of the crystal field theory. So that is why the crystal field theory has come into existence. Okay, this is the first point. Now coming to the second point. Second point explains about the ligands. Explains about what? Explains about the ligands. So the ligands already we studied the explanation types of ligands already we have studied and it has been judged also. The ligands are electron donor. The ligands will be donating the pair of electrons to the central metal atom or the ion. So ligands will be having at least a lone pair of electrons. Since the ligand has at least a lone pair of electrons, therefore it is called as the ionic ligands, or otherwise it has got a point charge. Can you understand? It has a point charge. So there are two types of ligands. One is a negative ligand. According to the specific theory, it has been accepted also universally. Now, the ligands when you take, there are two different types of ligands. One is called the negative ligand, the other one is called as a neutral ligand. When you take this negative ligand, the negative ligand has a tendency of donating the lone pair of electrons to the central metal atom or an ion. Okay, whereas in case of, so that means what? It has a point charge, it has a lone pair of electrons, it has a dipole moment which is directed towards the or pointed towards the central metal atom or an ion. So, now coming to the neutral ligand the NH3 I am taking. The NH3 there are two different atoms, so there is single ligand. There the nitrogen alone will be having a lone pair of electrons. So that negative part of that ligand, which has a dipole moment, which has a point charge, will be directed towards the central metal atom or an ion. This is the concept of the ligand which has been detailing dealt by the crystal field theory or dealt with the crystal field theory. Understood what I am telling about the ligands? Next one is the d orbitals. The d orbitals, when you take these d orbitals, the d orbitals has a tendency of undergoing degeneracy. So degeneracy is possible in case of the d orbitals. Degeneracy is possible in case of d orbitals. So d orbitals will undergo degeneracy. So the degeneracy will be getting destroyed sometimes. When it will be getting destroyed when the ligands include electron due to the electrical field சொல்லுவாங்க. That the degeneracy of the d orbital electronic spectrum அப்படினு சொல்றோம் இல்லையா? electronic spectrum எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ண முடியல. So இங்க crystal field theoryல என்ன எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்றாங்க அப்படினா d orbitals naturally will be undergoing degeneracy, but the degeneration will be getting destroyed due to the electrical field. How this electrical field is being created? The electrical field is being created by the lone pair of electrons or the electrons being donated by the ligands to the central metal atom. So from the ligands, when the electrons approaches the central metal atom or the ion, the degeneracy of the d orbitals will be getting destroyed. Can you understand? So in case of d orbitals, there are two conditions. One attractive force இருக்கு, the repulsive force இருக்கு. Attractive force எப்போ வரும்? ஒரு central metal atom ligand ரெண்டும் ஒண்ணோட ஒண்ணு கம்பைன் ஆகும்போது, because it is a cationic species. Which is cationic species? Central metal atom or ion is a cationic species. What about the ligands? Ligands are negative or otherwise neutral. அப்ப negative ஆ இருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு ligand when it approaches the cationic species like central metal atom, obviously there will be the force of attraction. Now where there will be a repulsive force? When the electron of the ligand is getting emptied into the d orbitals. D orbitals of central metal atom, there exists a repulsive force. That is, the repulsive force exists between the electrons of the ligands and the electrons of the central metal atom or an ion. Understood? So these are some of the points about the central metal atom which has been d orbitals of central metal atom explained in the crystal field theory. The ligands பத்தி சொல்லிட்டேன், central metal atom and the d orbitals பத்தி சொல்லியாச்சு. Now d orbitals ஓட ஷேப்ஸ் சொன்ன 5 d orbitals இருக்கு, dxy, dyz, dzx. Remaining 2 is dx square minus y square dz square. Whereas first 3 d orbitals are பார்க்கும்போது the lobes are present in between the axis. Whereas dx square minus y square dz square are பார்க்கும்போது along the axis. Understand? Along the axis there will be more repulsive force அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவோம். When it is along the axis there will be a more repulsive force. That is the very best example is octahedral complexes. Octahedral complexes I drew the diagram on the board also. And the octahedral complexes பார்க்கும்போது 6 L's இருக்கு. Along the axis the ligands are present, x axis and the y axis are present. அப்ப automatically when the ligand approaches the central metal atom or an ion undergoes a degeneracy. அப்ப degeneracy குள்ள போகும்போது T2G Eg ன்னு இருக்கு. So period T2G higher level Eg is present. அப்ப T2G ஓட range 0.4, Eg ஓட range 0.6 நம்ம சொல்றோம் delta naught ஓட value. What is delta naught? Delta naught is not represents octahedral. Delta naught அப்படிங்கிறது magnitude of crystal field splitting or splitting energy அப்படின்னு சொல்றோம். The values are 0.6 and 0.4 and 0.6 அப்படின்னு சொல்றோம். What is T2G and what is Eg? Eg is nothing but what? Eg we are telling it as the doubly orbital, degenerate orbital. T2G is triply degenerate degenerate orbitals. Upper T2G EG condition is there in case of octahedral. Now coming to the tetrahedral complexes, the ligands are present in between the axis. In between the axis it will not experience much repulsive forces. So ரொம்ப repulsive forces இருக்காது. அப்ப inversion is taking place. Inversion T2G EG condition inversion வருது. Energy delta naught value also is getting abruptly changes. Okay, in case of the tetrahedral complexes. Now this crystal field theory, based on all this degeneracy nature and approach of ligand, he has created the spectrochemical series with the ligands, which is spectrochemical series which explain பண்றாங்க. அதுல they are taking the octahedral complexes d5 electrons ஒரு orbital எடுத்து degenerate பண்ணும்போது ரெண்டு conditions possible னு நம்ம சொன்னோம். What are the two conditions are possible? One is the electrons can get pair or otherwise electron can shift to the next level, degeneracy level, the electron will get shift. That means the electrons can be present within the same T2G level or otherwise it can enter into EG level. Same T2G level is pairing and the P அப்படிங்கற energy is needed, pairing energy. If the electron is to enter into EG level, doubly bonded orbital, degeneracy orbital electrons and shift ஆகணும் அப்படினு சொன்னா then it needs delta naught value, that is magnitude of crystal field splitting energy is needed. So case 1 we are telling. What is the case 1? If delta naught value is less than P, then it is a weak field again. What's happening? The electron is entering into the next level, that is EG level. So therefore the configuration becomes T2G3 and EG level it becomes 1. It is applicable for the weak field ligand. So it is applicable for the weak field ligand and high spin complexes. Next one what we have is when the delta naught is greater than P, it is applicable for the strong field ligand where the pairing takes place. Our T2G becomes 4 and EG becomes 0. Isn't it? So that is applicable for what? It is applicable for the strong field ligand. Applicable for strong field ligand and low spin complexes. Is it all clear what I am telling? Till this we all study. This is a crystal field theory. So understand the concept, understand each and every step, and you have to study. Provided they have asked you in the examination, then you have they are going to ask you in the examination, then you have to explain from the first what I have told you until the last. Because 2.5 pages are there, it is highly ridiculous for you to study and to keep everything in your mind. Only the gist of the crystal field theory I have given, because the crystal field theory will be asked only in the objective type as well as in your NEET examinations. For theoretical basis for the crystal field theory you will not be getting any questions. Next, after that we will have to study only 3 more topics. Next class I will be teaching you about the color formation and magnetic property, very important, magnetic property and color formation, then applications of coordination. With that the lesson will begin. Okay, thank you.